Hello everyone, welcome to Nishta. With an intention to demystify leadership, I launched Nishta a few years ago. I'm Suba Lakshminarasimhan, ICF and EMCC credentialed coach. I specifically work with CDE suite leaders across industries, right from startup to established organizations, in their leadership career growth, workplace conflict management, and emotional management. This episode is so special for me. We have a veteran from the industry who has humongous experience across diversified functions. I'm so happy to welcome Deenadayalan Singaravelan, lovingly called as Deen, currently the founder and the investor of CEO group of companies, 50 years in the space of HR, research, supply chain, IT, and NGO governance. Deen has worked with many companies. I'm going to name a couple of them. Metul Bertzil, NTTF, Fenner, Titan, ITC, and DuPont. Last 25 years, he has been with CEO group of companies as the founder. It's very interesting that I met Deen in person last year in the NHRD conference. I was like observing people coming in and then talking to Deen, and I also started conversing with him. Within few seconds, what I could observe is he has been conducting a lot of social experiments, keeping the benefit to the society at large in mind, big picture visioning, and justifying that vision with keenly focusing on areas that need change and enabling that change through action. So this is what I learned about Deen while conversing with him. Warm welcome one more time.
Thank you.
Deen.
It's a pleasure.
Pleasure and honor to have you here in the platform of Nishta. So I launched Nishta a few years ago with an intention to demystify leadership. Invite you to share something about your leadership journey before we jump into the questions.
Oh, thank you. Somewhere, while job was very important, I felt job should have certain values. So the first interview I attended, I don't want to name the company. Three of our colleagues, we all went, even before the results came, we were invited for the interview. We went through the whole process. After half a day, offer was made to me and two of my colleagues. All the three of us were called inside the room and said, Mr. Deenadayalan, you have been selected. Your two friends are not selected. And then they gave a canteen coupon to me and not to those two people. Then I came out and said, I'm not joining this company. That was the most difficult call because those days placement was a challenge. And if they had not given a canteen coupon to all the three of us, I would have been very happy. After all, the canteen coupon those days was 35 paisa. Okay. Or they given canteen coupon to all the three. Then I thought, this is not a culture I would like to work for. But I don't know how I took the call. Very honest, I did not know. My friends all scolded me. My parents scolded me. And 600 rupees was the salary, which was a huge money at that point of time. I'm talking about in 74, even before the results came. And my professors also chided me. But some of my guts said I should not. That's the way I've been working. So, and so happened that my professor said, okay, come and join me in a research project. So I was assisting him on a research project for Food and Agriculture Organization, which was also a very interesting case study, where 44 workmen were burnt to death by the landlords in interior Tamil Nadu. And the agrarian relations in a place called Karaikal, which is part of the Pondicherry Union Territory, are not very good. So we went and we used to go and cycle and interview agricultural laborers. Then we are supposed to interview the landlords. After interviewing the agricultural laborers, I went into one of the leading landlords in a place called Nedungadu. He did not allow us, saying, you have gone and met the Dalits, and you can't come inside our... So that was the status I'm talking about 74. And these two groups, these landlords burned those 44 laborers. Later on, some of those laborers joined together and murdered few landlords. That was the type of agrarian relations that was there. And that was a great exposure for me to understand the two dynamics, how the feudal system worked. And those days, money was paid in kind, not in terms of wages and all that. So that was a 10-month study. Unfortunately, when I was doing my first year, second year social work, when we had the final Viva was Mr. P.M. Matthew, who was the director of Metu BHL. He had come for the Viva. And our Viva went on well. He liked my Viva. And I got a very good mark. But that was the previous year. The next year, he came for a campus interview. He had got IIM, XLRI, and all that. He came to the Madras School for a campus interview. Then he said, "Is this boy who did the Viva last year, is he around?" I was in the research project. So I was called in and he offered a job. But that was an excellent turning point. And the first day of my joining, he was 54, I was 24. And I used to call him sir. And all my colleagues were from IIM and others. And I had this inferiority complex. And he said, "No, don't call me sir. Call me by name." And I said, "It's very difficult for me. I'm just 24. I'm a kid." Then he said, "No, you have two choices. Either call me by name or find another job." That was a very powerful statement he made. But he gave a logic to that. That is where my own unlearning process started. He said the British colonial thoughts created this culture called sir, where you subordinate your thoughts when you articulate with the hierarchies. Never do that. I may agree with your thoughts, I may not agree with you, but I need to listen to you. So if you call me my name, you are friendly. You don't mind articulating and all that. But I didn't realize the impact of that. But today, everybody calls me Deen. And I make it as a penalty if somebody calls me by sir. But these are small things. It looks very trivial, but it makes a lot of difference. And Metu BHL molded me. Because I was rubbing shoulders with the so-called, like I was telling you, Indra Navi was one of the man. Sure, those days Indra Krishnamurti. And most of them are the leaders, global leaders today in various parts of the world. So that was one of the great British company which valued, it was a 5-day week, and 74, 5-day week. And really is a great learning. I got immersed into HR. And one of our leading lawyers said, "Then you're working in a very big industry with multiple units in different parts of India, but you're a tail of a lion. I'm going to recommend you to an organization which is not branded, but why don't you go for an interview?" And I casually went for an interview. It's called NTTF, Network Technical Training Foundation in Bangalore. Who are basically in the skill space. I did not know anything about them. And they are also two manufacturing units. And had an excellent interview. Mr. Srinivasamurthy from MICO was in the selection committee. Apart from that, NTTF senior officials and MD, Mr. Raghurat. And I got selected. And that is where I started learning about skill, basically. Even today, if you see any NTTF trained person can walk into any part of the world without a job and can get an employment. So the excellence in skill, I don't think any institution in the country is doing the way NTTF is doing. And the robustness plus there's something called PEL, Personality, Effectiveness, Leadership Learning Program, where in the first 15 days, most of them are from rural schools. Yeah, they have a 50% reservation for students who have studied in government schools or municipal schools, not from by caste. But within 15 days, you will be surprised they'll all speak English. It's not that English is important, but the confidence building process. So what they call as PEL effectiveness program, they start with that. They don't start with technical training. They start with making them, who am I? So that was a great learning, when you start working with youth and then trying to, and all these youngsters coming from rural areas have a lot of inferiority complex. And the urban-rural divide was very vivid. And, coming to a Bangalore campus, seeing a beautiful environment, and suddenly which they have not seen in the village. But that really started triggering my thoughts that we need to tap native talents. Slowly, as we started learning and growing, had a very good 7 years of innings in NTTF. And Then got a call from Fenner for a very, very short stint. I don't know where it was right for me, but I moved into Madurai because of a title called personal manager. Let me be very honest, those days were the title. But Fenner itself was a very interesting experience where it is a British company. It is now Indianized. Okay. They used to give every day 5 sweets and 5 savories. And it'll go to the Arak shop immediately. So we went and stopped all that and said it should. But people were very, very unhappy with me. But what really I learned from Fenner was something very, very unique. We had a union leader where we were negotiating, and he lost the election because the management offered 500 rupees versus 1,000 of gold, which was 400 rupees at that point of time. The union leader said, no, we want only gold, not 500 rupees. The most, including me, thought the union leader is losing out on 100 rupees. Okay. But just a year later, the gold price went up. So that union leader by name Kondal told me, though I lost my election, I still feel we should have got 1,000 of gold. The real value people don't understand. Even for me, at that time, I didn't have that maturity to see what the union leader said that. But most of the time, we don't look at the real value. We look at the inflated value or the immediate financial benefit than the long-term benefit. So that was a very, very short term. And since I am from Bangalore, my wife was not very comfortable shifting to Madurai. My daughter was born in Madurai. She said, no, we should go back to Bangalore, and Titan called me. And no going back. Titan was one of the most innovative and interesting experience I would have ever had. Because when Titan came into India, India had mechanical watches. And all quartz watches were only smuggled watches. And we didn't have quartz technology in India. There's only one Egde and Gole Polytechnic, which was teaching horological skills. But that was also not quartz, it's mechanical. So we are all struggling internally. Where do we get people from? Then internally, when we were brainstorming, there was one school of thought, let us get all the apprentices from HMT. Then Mr. Desai said, we have put up an industry in Hosur, which was infected by Naxalite movement in those days. And the government has invited us to set up. Not many people know Titan is a joint venture of Tamil Nadu government and Tata's.
Okay.
That Titan's TA stands for Tata Industries, TAN stands for Tamil Nadu government.
Oh, okay.
Okay. And Tamil Nadu government holds a major share, even today.
Oh, okay.
Okay. And then we were brainstorming. Then I always walk through my gut. I said, why don't we go to the government schools, get the kids? And then the entire line managers were opposed to it. How can you work with 16-year and 17-year-old? By law, it is not allowed. I said, no, by law, I can find a solution because adolescent labels were allowed. Then we said, we'll set up a training center. And Mr. Desai is a visionary leader. Then you're supported by Mr. Anil Manchanda, who unfortunately lost out. He should have become the CEO. And other leaders agreed, why don't we experiment this thought? Though the line managers were not very happy, saying we need to get an experienced hand, then only they will know the job. But it so turned out, we called 65 school headmasters in and around 50-kilometer radius. And Mr. Desai was also very keen that don't disturb any student who's brilliant and bright. So let us institute a scholarship for them to do higher education. People who are average or above average and who are from a difficult family background and the need for job is there, call them for selection. And 3,000 people we selected in and around, started with 25 kilometers, then we went through 150 kilometers, 200 kilometers, then ended Tamil Nadu. And you know the story of Titan now. And at least 500 of them are today not in India. All these kids, only with 10 standard, 12 standard. And then another thought, which I learned from Kondal in Fenner, though it was a short stint, I did not pay more money to the... Mr. Desai himself was very upset. Deen, you're not paying them I give tips of 400 rupees to my driver. They are giving 400 rupees as salary to the employees. I said, sir, I don't want to. These are all young people. No money should be with them. But why don't we do some intangible assets? Then we are brainstorming. I said, we'll build a own your own housing scheme. Not a housing colony, own your own housing scheme. And, we are not making money. And watches in the first few years, we are not making money. But Mr. Desai was so humanistic. We bought 100 acres of land. Today, one of the best housing you can see in the entire country is Titan Housing. It was crafted by Charles Correa in a way that you'll have a cluster and the backyard becomes your marriage hall.
Oh.
Every cluster will have a backyard where all your social functions can be held. So, a lot of innovations we learned. Titan is where I think we brought girls. And on these girls, nearly 1,800 of them, they're all coming from villages. First of all, they are not willing to join. We had to talk to their parents and bring them then. Then I don't know whether you recall, those days we used to have trunk boxes, not the suitcases what we have.
Yeah.
They used to come with their parents, and for them, seeing Titan factory itself was something very. So then we said, how do we sensitize them? Right from using the toilets, sanitary napkins, then we created transit homes.
Okay.
And created foster parents. Every transit home had a foster parent.
Okay.
When they will miss the mother, father. So, and also being women, safety, security, all that. Similarly, we created transit houses for boys, but we had two different strategies. Then we had also little worried. Very honest worry was if they unionize, what will happen? And what can we do differently? Not to unionize, or let them unionize, but it has to be internal. Then we did this, what today we are all talking about data analytics. We did a passion inventory. And normally what happens is in any organization, all this recreation or gym or whatever it is, what management thinks, and we implement it. When we did a passion inventory, we found people who were interested in folk song. People are interested in literary art, debate and all that. So we formed about 10 clubs. And passion-based clubs were formed. And today the Titan Orchestra team performs all over the world.
Oh, wow.
Okay. And some of them are musicians who do exceedingly well. Some of them have moved into movie, acting. So we could capture those innate talents and create clusters around innate talents. Okay. So if careers are not possible within the organization, there are careers outside, whether they work or they don't work. And there are few people who have enterprising skills. Today, most of the real estate in Hosur are by ex-Titan employees.
Oh, wow.
And you'll be surprised, you go to one of the state-of-art showroom in Mysore is run by a Titan employee.
Oh.
Many of the franchises, Titan employees have taken over. And many of them have moved into showrooms, sales, multitasking. So they never shade us as so-called blue collar. But at that time, I didn't have a structure or a thought process that we could have added a customized education. While we did ask them to do whatever education they wanted, while I did the passion-based hobby inventory, I could have done a passion-based education inventory. But that was a great learning, which I transitioned into ITC and DuPont, which we did. And DuPont were 243 10 standard, 12 standard students whom we were taken. Passion-based education was given. Then we added something called self-managed team where they were trying to work without supervision. Sort of a mini MBA on the shop floor where 5 critical processes in every shift will be managed by the team member himself while doing the depth work on rotation. Every 6 months, one will handle quality, one will handle production planning, one will handle HR, one will handle safety, one will handle engineering. So that everybody gets an opportunity, and they were selected by the peers, not by the management. So, plus they were also involved in selecting the future peers. And today, touchwood, all the 243, many of them are general managers, vice presidents, and some of them have started their own enterprise, employing more than 1,000, 1,500 people. So I was trying to mull this over. Why is this happening when we take underhired people and they are able to do better than when we take highly qualified people? So suddenly we are debating. Then I was saying maybe because they've all studied in mother tongue. Then one something flashed in me. India, when we did not know English 400 years ago, we are the highest exporting country. And every state in India exported. Then I was saying there's no point in talking about our past glory. Then I was trying to look at other countries which do not speak English. And trying to compare. Today you look at all countries who don't speak English. Europe, or in Asia, China, or Korea, or Malaysia, or Japan, their export quotient is higher than import quotient.
Okay.
I'm not talking about EQ, IQ, I'm talking about export, right?
Of course.
And look at India, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, Mauritius, UK, USA, their import quotient is higher than export quotient. So somewhere, probably we have lost that risk-taking capability. We have become a thought colonized to work for others, to do things for others. Not even IT, we take a lot of pride, but we don't do a product. We do a back-end service, hardly 10%. And this product is done outside the country. So where the economy benefits. So more and more, I'm getting convinced that we should underhire, bring their native originality, and find pace and miss. Then we thought we will try this. And DuPont gave me another opportunity, which is the most unlearning opportunity, which also was the reason for my starting my consulting. I was taken around a plant in Maitland. The person who took me around was a vice president. You know, a multinational vice president is a very, very big title. Though I had a title called director, that's a different thing. He drove me from Wilmington, Delaware to Canada. So I was extremely thrilled. Then there was a beautiful neon signs, welcome board. You know, the Indian, you see that, you get thrilled. I was in the plant for a week. Then he called me for a review after a week. Then you're going to set up a plant in India. We're at the time wanting to set up in Goa. Hope you got what all insights you wanted. I said, yes, I'd made all my notes and all that blah, 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 blah. But he made a very innocuous and powerful statement. Then you are from India, you must be unhappy. And I was scratching my head. His name is Milt. He passed away 2 years ago. Oh. Milt, no, I'm very, very happy. No, then you are unhappy. He kept on repeating this unhappiness. So I said, please let me know why are you saying this. These people who took you around were all workmen. Honestly, I said yes. Because he drove me from Wilmington, Delaware. And my ego was that at least a senior manager should have accompanied me.
Oh.
Then he said with all the American sarcasm, Deen, I think I made a stupid mistake. I should have sent some manager with you. But tell me what these people have not answered. Me or my manager should answer. I fell on the floor. Because they had answered all inconvenient questions. Then he said, then if my chairman comes, it is these people who take them around. If my customers come, it is these people who take them around. And if we connect customer to the operating point, you don't need too much of management. You know, the message was so powerful. But the next statement he made was the most powerful statement. You people come from India to the Western world to learn management. Please don't do that. Western world will not teach you management. You go back to your Gurukula. He gave me a book on Enneagram. He spoke about Navagrahas. Can you believe that?
Oh.
He said, you have lost what your Gurukula taught you. And you can identify talent by making them to be owners of the processes, not by managing them through supervision. That's where I learned this concept of self-managed things. And that's where DuPont, when we started doing all this concept, then I thought, why should I confine myself to DuPont? Why not I start on my own? Great risk. At the age of 47, my children were all in school. No regrets. Now, 35,000 kids have gone through our model. 5,000 have already become general managers, vice presidents on the route. It's not general manager or vice president is important. But that native talent, I'm sure if they've gone to a college or to a higher education, they would not have got. But we got them customized education. For example, Dr. Reddy's, all the plants are going through this model only. The latest is they have tied up with Bits Filari. So they join at the blue collar. On the 5 days, they work on the shop floor with the self-managed team concept. On the 6th day, Bits Filani comes and teaches them. After 4 years, they get a diploma. So now we are institutionalizing, we call it a learn, earn, grow, and succeed. We are done in Ashok Leyland. As consultant, we started doing. Now, fortunately, Tamil Nadu government has adopted this thing. We are trying to work with Karnataka government. We are trying to convert all educational institutions into an integrated industry academia partnership. Because I think India should now get into an export space and not in terms of, we have a World Trade Organization, we have all other challenges. But we can't be consumers, we have to be contributors. This is a passion. I think it's a small drop I'm trying to work on.
Absolutely. I agree with that. Right? This is one of the conversations where I cherished listening. Yeah, today, for that question, Deen, thank you so much. In fact, a couple of things that I'm picking from here, right? Because I started my journey with TCS, where the culture of calling our boss by name is it's normal, right? But I very well remember when I met you, I started calling you sir. Immediately you stopped me, you said, you know what, call me Deen. Right? So now that you mentioned the rationale behind that, right? It gels so well, right? Probably I feel very comfortable talking to you today.
No, that makes thanks to Mr. Matthew who gave me that insight.
Absolutely. I didn't really think that deep, how it can make certain changes psychologically, right?
True.
Psychological safety is something, the buzzword that everybody is doing, using today. But this give us some psychological safety here, right?
No,
some comfort.
It might be very small, but I think that makes a lot of difference.
Absolutely. So I also, would like to draw a parallel here. When we learn to be a coach, right, as a part of ICF accreditation, credentialing and all, the first lesson what we learn is, you're a partner, you're partnering with your coachee.
True.
Right? So when I say I'm partnering with my coach, I'm neither above them nor,
we're equal.
Right? We are equal. Because it helps us in connecting, build that rapport. Because, they may come up with, thinking that, okay, they're all experts in something. Right? Then they may not show that vulnerability, or they do too much of, vulnerability. They, build that dependability, on us coaches, right? Similarly, for example, I'm coaching a CEO or somebody with, big title, right? If I start feeling inferior to them, I may not be, doing my role as a coach properly, right?
True. Absolutely.
So that, whatever Mr. Mike, right? I think he showed that, coaching mindset. If I have to bring that under some bracket, under some buzzword, right? That coach, leader as a coach. These are all sessions that we take nowadays. This could be.
We didn't use any of those words, but
absolutely. See, this is where the main theme, what I'm picking from this particular conversation is leadership is, when we say demystify leadership is, more of way of life, right? Way of who you are as a human being first. Then the titles, your skill, the capabilities, your degrees, all these stuff, come later. But who we are as a human being, when that comes out, then somebody respects us as, leader or the other way, right? That was the theme that I'm, picking from this conversation. And one more information I would like to, kind of picking another theme. What I picked is the way that you quickly unlearn, right? You go to some organization, you have a conversation with your boss or some leader there, and how quickly you moved on to learn the new things. When you are embracing that new learning, you have to unlearn the previous thought, the thought that you had carried for 24 years, 25 years, whatever, right? So that is another, key learning that I'm picking, because we are loosely using these words: unlearn, learn, relearn. When I connect it with whatever you shared, it helps me in delving deeper into understanding what exactly unlearning means. Keeping the ego out, right? Especially when you shared that, in one of the conversations where the other person mentioned that, you're not happy because I didn't send any senior people with you and you were roaming around my plant, right? Beautifully, he picked how ego plays a role in our mind, right? That's a, ego is, edging God out is the, explanation that I read somewhere recently.
No, it's unconscious bias all of us have.
Unconscious, absolutely, absolutely, right? And I'm also seeing a bridge here from your the 24 years when you joined, when you said no to that organization because your colleagues who were not chosen, they were not giving that coupon, right?
It's only the coupon.
Coupon.
Selecting, not selecting is an organizational.
Absolutely. But it shows the culture of the organization.
True.
Right? How they are treating somebody when they are not going to work with them, right? So that's a beautiful pick. And then how you have navigated through all the other changes in the overall experience. I'm able to, connect with what you are doing today, right? All the social experiments that you were talking about. Yeah. I am able to, connect it so beautifully through the DNA that you are carrying all through this, years. Yeah.
Fortunately, I've had very good leaders who helped me facilitated that process. So they gave that freedom to experiment, freedom to operate.
Absolutely. Absolutely. At the same time, teacher will appear whenever the student is ready.
True. Yeah. Yeah. True.
So you were ready to receive so that whatever they gave you, you were able to embrace it, right? Because see, that is something, one challenge that we see, as coaches. In fact, I see a lot, right? Even though I may be ready to give a lot, right? The coachee should be ready to receive. That mentee should be ready to receive, right? That is not the case everywhere, right? So that is the lesson that I would like all youngsters, by age or by, experience to, take it as the one of the key learnings, right? We should be ready to receive. Keep that open mind, ready to receive. Then only we'll be able to process it, right? Then you, make it as a part of your DNA, right?
True.
That's a beautiful, beautiful sharing. Here is where part one of this conversation ends. I'm sure this has more for you to reflect on your journey, your leadership journey, how important it is to unlearn and listen to the other person and interpret what exactly the other person is saying, right? How can we interpret that to connect it with our growth and the way that we want to evolve in our life, in our leadership journey? We'll soon meet you in part two of the conversation with Mr. Deen.